reviewer. Yay!
Might. You just might.
Okay, so we're live. Welcome everyone to the Banlist review. A good way to ring in the year. We have the entire ban list, which we're not counting these cards that are unlimited, just counting anything that has a play restriction on it. There's 188 cards in total to review. Are you excited? Because I'm here.
Oh dear.
I'm here with
Oh,
Firespark.
I actually am.
So I invited Firespark to talk about, because he knows what is meta, clearly, like, fucking hell, he's ahead of the meta with one of the cards that he suggested for the ban list. It's this fucker here. Red's fucking medicine. Increase your life points by 500 points. It's just a normal spell. The fuck, man. They should have at least discard 3 cards, let's be honest. It's too powerful. So yeah, this is the kind of shit you can expect from him, so he's gonna be blown away by all the things I'm gonna say about these cards. So anyway, because there's 188 cards in total, I think we're just gonna start, aren't we?
Yeah, let's just do it.
Okay, so the first one is Astrograph.
I know I have that card.
Yeah, it's banned. It was from Pendulum Magician decks. We're using it somehow to loop. I don't know how. But you know... Wait, can I pull it up in here? I could pull it up on here. Oh. You know, that makes things easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Because now I can just click it, and I can press pre, or I can just use the middle mouse. But okay, so we're gonna view it from here, I guess.
Okay, but this is on alphabetical order and not with the same order.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. So we're starting with Ancient Fairy Dragon instead of Astrograph. Ancient Fairy Dragon is a light attribute, level 7 dragon synchro monster with 2100 attack and 3000 defense.
Okay.
Its materials are as generic as it can get. Once per turn, you can special summon on level 4 or lower monster from your hand. You cannot conduct a battle phase the turn you activate this effect. Now, that effect is clearly not the problem, because there are cards that do the same thing, but without skipping your battle phase.
Yeah.
But here's the a little bit more problematic effect. Once per turn, you can throw as many field spells on the field as possible, and if you do, gain 1,000 life points and add a field spell from your deck to your hand.
Okay, yeah, I can see why that is a problem.
With the current meta, almost every deck is using a field spell. Whether this is Mystic Mine, this can be at the time it was Sky Strikers, I believe. But anyway, every deck has a field spell, so to have it
at least one.
To have a generic, easily accessible searcher for field spells that gets rid of your opponent's field spells, that's a little bit powerful. That's the I think this card should stay banned for now. Because just
for now.
Yeah, for now. You never know how the meta evolves. If the meta stops using a lot of field spells, they're probably going to unban this thing for the decks that still do use field spells. Or people would like to make anime decks, because this is for an anime deck. Yeah, so that's his first card. We're not going to stick too long on a card if there's not much to talk about. So
we're now going to do Astrograph Sorcerer.
Astrograph Sorcerer. The Pendulum Abuse. This was used during Link Era. During Link Era, Pendulum was still abusing the shit out of the game, and this was the culprit. One of the main culprits, there are many. During your main phase, you can destroy this card, and if you do, take one Stargazer Magician from your hand or deck and either place it in your Pendulum Zone or special summon it. You can only use this effect once per turn. That's its Pendulum effect. Now, we should probably review the card's basic stats first, because I'm an idiot. It's a Dark Attribute, level 7, Pendulum Skill 1, Spellcaster monster with 2500 attack and 2000 defense. If this card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card from... Oh no, if a card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, special summon this card from your hand, then choose one monster in your graveyard, extract or that is banished, and that was destroyed this turn, and add one monster with the same name from your deck to your hand. You can banish this card and 4 other monsters: Pendulum Dragon, Xyz Dragon, Synchro Dragon, and Fusion Dragon in their names. Special summon Zark. I don't know exactly how the loop worked, but I do know it doesn't involve its second effect. Its second effect is kinda eh. It's fun if you want to bring out Zark like they did in the series, but...
Yeah, I do know it's a good card. I had it for a short while in my Pendulum deck, and once I found out
that is not
banned,
a very high standard. That is a very low standard.
Shut up.
He knows I'm right.
Shut up. Anyway, I had it in my Pendulum deck, and then when I found out it was banned, I just took it out of it. But it was sad, because it was a good card.
I think for you it was just a beat stick, let's be honest.
Okay. You don't have to be so rude.
If by rude you mean right, then yes, I do have to be.
I mean, it's both starts with an R.
So yeah, if it's easy to summon, if a card you control, so if you have two in your hand, you can literally place one in the Pendulum Zone, destroy it, summon a Stargazer, summon this thing from hand, and get a third one in the process. But
I guess that's the loop.
you can add one monster with the same name for your deck to your hand. I don't know how the loop worked. That's the only issue I'm having here. There was some way to loop this card around like a bunch of times, and that is why it was banned.
Let's not stick too long to it.
Yeah, but anyway, this card was banned for looping. I think it should stay banned because of that, because looping is very annoying.
I mean, Grand Mole
doesn't loop as hard. You summon it, and you can
It
summon
can
it.
loop though.
That is not what people call a loop. A loop is where you do it in one turn. In one turn you keep playing the same card. That's a loop.
Yeah, okay.
And they also have the infinite loop, which is a loop that keeps going indefinitely.
I know what an infinite loop is.
Did you know that there are actually illegal moves that cannot be made because they would not end the duel?
No, I did not know that.
Yep. At which point, if something continuously happens and cannot be stopped, and it doesn't reduce life points or deck size, a judge may rule that the effect is negated. That causes the loop.
I'm now thinking, because the infinite loops, I'm now thinking of the scene of the America Minion versus with Slice the Sky Dragon.
Yeah, with Yami, where he had to keep drawing his deck.
Yeah, where he kept drawing his deck because of the...
That's a legal loop. Because his deck is decreasing, you're getting closer to victory, so you can keep going.
Yeah, I know, but it is an infinite loop.
Yeah, but there's like one
until
card
deck ran out.
that causes like 20 different infinite loops.
Yeah.
Anyway, Blackwing, Go Food, Vague Shadow. I think this is a little vague, but...
Yeah, I was just gonna say the same thing.
It's a dark attribute, level 5. It's a Dark Winged Beast. The fuck? I didn't expect this from Blackwing. The fuck? It's a level 5 tuner with 0 attack and 0 defense. It must first be special summoned and cannot be normal summoned in any way. It must be special summoned from your hand while you control no monsters. That's easy enough. Just start your turn with it. When this card is special summoned from the hand, you can special summon 2 Vague Shadow tokens, but they cannot be tributed or used for synchro material. That's kind of weird for a synchro deck. Like, yeah, you have these tokens, don't use them.
Yeah, okay.
But you can banish this card and one or more face-up non-tuner monster and don't target one Blackwing synchro monster in your graveyard. Special summon it. Yeah. Okay, I think I get why this card is banned.
Well,
the tokens can be used as link material.
That's all
I think, because the summoning from graveyard is really not that bad, and Blackwing has better options. There's Obsidian Hawkjoe.
Yeah, but isn't tokens, can't they just generically be used for anything, including Link?
They cannot be used for Xyz. They can be used for synchros, but yeah.
Not for Link?
Huh?
Not for Link?
For Link,
because you
yes.
say...
But they can't be used for everything. They can only be used for fusion monsters that specifically require them, of course. and they can,
And
but they are locked out of Xyz. But Link is too easy to use. There's so little conditions to it that their levels don't matter, their type doesn't matter, attribute doesn't matter, which for everything else that matters too much. So the tokens would need to be very specific to work. For instance, for synchro, with this card you could use them, but with another cards, you could, if with a lower level tuner, you'd have a problem that you have to use both tokens to make a high level synchro. But anyway, it's clearly for the link potential. The fact that this isn't a hard once per turn doesn't help. You can keep using this effect if your field keeps getting cleared. So yeah, I can understand why this is banned. How about you?
Well, I can kind of understand with your explanation, but I'm still confused about Link's being able to be summoned with with tokens, yes or no, in general. Like
Tokens count as normal monsters, and may be used as such for Link summon.
Yeah, so why wouldn't they be? So, what's the deal with this then?
Well, this summons tokens without restriction, basically.
Oh,
You
yeah,
immediately have 3 monsters on the field. You still have a normal summon left. And you've only used 1 card.
Yeah.
I can see this going into Saruja very easily, which is one of the best Link monsters right now.
Yeah, okay, now I got it.
Yeah. So anyway, next up is Blackwing Steam the Cloak. Oh, it's getting steamy here. Yes, I do have to make puns at almost all the cards.
I'll just put on my cloak and deal with it.
Okay, well, it's a dark attribute winged beast again. Wow, what a coincidence.
Level 3.
Level 3 tuner with 800 attack and 1200 defense. If this card leaves the field, summon a Steam token. If this card's in your graveyard, you can tribute 1 monster, special summon this card. You can only use this effect once per duel. If this card is summoned this way, it's used as material. All other synchro materials must be Blackwing. Okay. So, if this face-up card leaves the field, summon a Steam token. That is the problematic effect.
What's problematic about it?
It's not once per turn.
Oh.
So if you have a way,
this card leaves the field, so you toss it off the field in your turn and then get it back on the field in the same turn.
Use this as a link material. Make the token, because it did leave the field. If you then revive this and send it away again for another link summon, you get another token.
That's what I'm saying.
You
get it off the field for the token.
Blackwing really have a problem with link spams. This is.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know where the token is for. It's for synchro plays, but due to the fact that this should have been a once per turn effect. There is no reason it isn't. That is what's got it banned. It's that simple.
Okay. But why don't they just, instead of banning their cards, why don't they just redesign those same cards?
They do that on occasion. It's called errating, and it happened to a lot of cards in the past, but that was for problem-solving card decks, and it still happens occasionally to fix cards like these that are just a little too powerful. But they don't like doing that, it seems. Because it's just if they slap on Heart once, nobody would complain about this card. It would still be good, because you still get that free token, but at least you can't loop it. And the worst part about this effect is you can send it to the graveyard, revive it using its own effect, link it away again, and still get that extra token.
Well, I say we go back to the list.
Yeah, we're going back to the list. Blaster, Dragon Ruler of Inferno. It's a fire attribute dragon effect monster, level 7 with 2800 attack and 1800 defense. If discards in your hand or graveyard, you can banish a total of 2 fire monsters and or dragon type monsters. Except discard, special summon this. If discards in your hand or graveyard, during your opponent's end phase, if discards were special summoned, return it to the hand. You can discard and 1 fire monster. Then target 1 monster on the field, destroy that target.
Sounds like you can loop it.
Hmm?
Sounds like you can loop it.
Sounds like a what?
Sounds like you can loop it to me.
A little bit, but it says you can only use 1 blaster ruler or dragon ruler effect per turn and only once that turn.
Oh, okay.
But it is a big monster that is with a very, very easy summoning condition. And I believe it was like dragon rulers were dominating the meta at one point. Just in general, because they also have like small versions which easily bring out the big guys. Its second effect really is not a big deal, like this effect from discarding and destroying a card. That's fine, that's very average. But yeah, it's probably for its summoning. I do not know if its summoning is considered an effect or a summoning condition. I think it's a summoning condition, technically. Might be.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either, but I'm guessing people did loop this. And you can at least you can summon this every turn pretty much, because Yu-Gi-Oh has an abundance of dragons. Like, really big. It's by far the biggest type. So yeah, whether this should stay banned though, it depends. For me, if this card should stay banned, all depends on is this a hard once effect. If not, I think at 1 it'd be fine. I don't know. Again, I don't know if this is. That's not a little hard with Yu-Gi-Oh. Is this a summoning condition or is this an effect? Because if this counts as summoning condition that you can do multiple times per turn, then definitely keep it banned. But if it isn't, I think limited would be fine. See what people come up with. Anyway, next up is Block Dragon. Get blocked. This card This card's relatively new on the list. Cannot be normal summoners. Oh wait, Earth attribute Rock monster, level 8, effect monster, 2500 attack and 3000 defense. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned by banishing 3 Earth monsters. Rock monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle, except by battle. If this card is sent from the fields to the grave, you can add up to 3 rock monsters whose total level equal 8, and you can only use this effect of Block Dragon once per turn. Now, the first thing that should jump out at anyone is the fact that it can be summoned multiple times per turn. And it's a triple searcher. You still there?
Oh, yeah, I was just paying attention to your explanation.
So, yeah, I think anyone can tell why this card is banned. It can search 3 monsters, and it needs 3 monsters to summon itself.
So you can, yeah.
Yeah, the only downside is that the levels have to equal 8, so if you're searching level 4 monster, you can only search like 2 level 2 monsters in addition. And you search a level 7 or higher level 7 monster, you can only search 1 more, but that is a very minor downside to this effect. Most of the time people are going to be adding 3 rock monsters that they have handpicked beforehand to be easy to summon and all that jazz. Like, I do remember Block Dragon getting a bit popular a few months, last year. 2 years ago? I think that now it was around the start of 2020 when it was really popular. But yeah, understandable that this is banned. This is a little bit too much. So I don't think there's much to argue here. Let's move on. One of the earlier banned cards, Cyberjar. A dark rock monster, level 3, with 900 attack and 900 defense. Flip, destroy all monsters on the field. Then both will reveal the top 5 cards from their deck, and then special summon all revealed level 4 or lower monsters in face-up attack or face-down defense position. Also add any remaining cards to their hand.
Okay, yeah, I can see why that is banned.
Yeah, I feel like you could easily, I don't know, deck someone out, fill up your own hand.
Yeah, and like, yeah, it's really.
Destroy all monsters on the field is fine. There are cards that do that as well, but it's just the reveal the top 5 cards from the deck and then special summon all level 4 lowers. You'd stack your deck, just pull off this kind of effect, and you'd succeed. And the fact that all the other cards are just added to hand instead of being discarded makes it better. So if you run a spell heavy deck, you can actually just use this to draw all those spells. I honestly, in my FA deck, I would definitely be using this.
If it weren't banned.
In many decks, I would run this card if I were allowed to do so.
Yeah.
Anyway, from Cyberjar we go to Dandelion. You better not be lying. Okay, that's the reaction I was hoping for. It's a Earth attribute plant monster from level 3. It has 300 attack and defense, and if this card is sent to the graveyard, special summon 2 fluff tokens. In defense position, these tokens cannot be tributed for tribute summon during the turn of special summon. Okay, good. Yeah, I can use them the turn after to play my monarchs. I don't think this needs much of an explanation.
Well, just one more time. What was it? You can special summon 2 fluff tokens?
2 fluff tokens. They cannot be tributed for tribute summon during the turn they are special summoned.
Okay.
So that's not a downside at all. Unless you're playing monarchs, you don't care, because you're gonna use these for links.
Yeah.
This is another case of links easy to make with this thing. Heck, even before links, I believe this card was already banned because it worked so well with things like Cannon Soldier, Synchro plays.
It's like, but it sounds to me like it's just summoning tokens. Like, that's no big deal. I mean,
it's summoning tokens, but it can be easily recycled. It summons 2. It is its condition is very simple, just being sent to the graveyard.
Recycle. That's recyclable. Yeah, very recyclable. Yeah, because I was thinking about like that one card I have, Scapegoat.
Scapegoat comes with so many restrictions on it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just gonna pull it up real quick so people can see the difference between that card was also limited for a while, I believe.
Yeah, but not banned.
Oh yeah, it's limited at the moment. It special summons 4 sheep tokens. They cannot be tributed for tribute summon, and you cannot summon other monsters the turn you activate this card.
Yeah, but the other one, the monster version, like
the monster version, that's that flip effect monster, Scapegoat.
Yeah, Scapegoat.
But yeah, anyway, this is just a little example of like another card that summons tokens. This had to be limited, and it has such a tight restriction on it that it cannot special summon other monsters. I'm just gonna pull up Scapegoat because you asked about it.
Yeah, because that's the one I was actually thinking about. It's just, Goat and Ghost.
Yeah, Scapegoat is based on Scapegoat, so
yeah.
Flip, you can special summon any number of black sheep tokens. And the thing is, Flip is a lot harder of a restriction than being sent to the graveyard. I have to set it, and then I have to either wait for my opponent to attack it, if they're even gonna,
for my own turn to flip it.
or I have to play a spell card to flip it over again. And quite frankly, that's a lot more resources that I am using just to pull off this effect.
Yeah, okay.
So that is why this card is fine, even though it summons twice as many tokens as Dandelion. Dandelion is faster.
Yeah, okay. And easier to recycle.
Yeah, because again, if you want to recycle this, you'd have to get your field, of course, cleared from all the tokens, but link summons. Then you have to get this monster face down again and flip it face up again.
Yeah.
And that's quite a bit of effort just to summon tokens.
Yeah.
Deng Long, first of the Yang Zing. It's a light Vrm monster. I hate the word.
Worm. Worm.
Worm. Anyway, it's a level 5 Synchro Tuner effect monster with no attack, but 2800 defense. Its materials are generic, and if this card is special summoned, you add a Yang Zing card from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, you can send one Worm monster from your deck to the graveyard. This card level becomes the send monster level. If this phase of card leaves the field, special summon a Yang Zing from your deck. You can only special summon Deng Long once per turn.
I suppose it's really good in worm decks.
Yeah, it is a free Foolish Burial with for Yang Zings. It would be good, I guess, but I don't know enough about Yang Zings to really judge if this card should or should not be banned.
So let's skip to the next one.
Yeah, I just a review, just to say, everyone, I don't know if this card should be banned, but I guess for Yang Zings could at some point exploit this somehow.
Leave your thoughts in the comments.
Or in chat, if you're here already. Nobody's here.
Oh darn.
How surprising. Anyway, the Strudo, the Lost Dragon's Frischen. It's a dark dragon, level 7 monster, tuner, with 1000 attack and 3000 defense. If discards in your hand or graveyard, pay half your life points. Target one level 6 or lower monster you control. Special summon this card, and if you do, this card level is reduced by the level of the targeted monster. Also place this card on the bottom of the deck if it leaves the field.
So it's really useful for...
It is easy to summon and generic. That is it.
Yeah, and also very useful for synchro summons, I suppose, if you target another monster.
Like the thing is, for synchro you still need setup, but this is was a little bit of the problem with Link era. Links didn't need a lot of setup. They just need you to summon monsters, but there's no planning in what kind of monsters you're summoning. Just summon effect monsters and you're golden, basically. Yep. And yeah, this card embodies that problem.
Okay.
And the cost being half your life points, it sounds high, but people really don't care about paying life points is the problem. People gladly pay half their life points if they could draw a card, so summoning one is no different.
Especially if they have 3 red medicines in their hand.
I mean, fucking hell, at that point they've already won the tournament. I don't think anyone's gonna whittle down 1500 extra life points. Anyway, next up is Jin, Releaser of Rituals. It's a Dark Fiend effect monster, level 3, 1200 attack, 2000 defense. When you ritual summon a monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard as one of the materials required for the ritual summon. If a player ritual summons using this card, the other player cannot special summon while that ritual monster is placed upon the field. Holy shit, how this card ever get printed?
Wait, come again?
If I ritual summon using this thing, which can be used from the graveyard, you cannot special summon.
Like at all, special summon at all.
At all.
For how long?
As long as my ritual monster's on the field.
What the fucking hell?
Don't think we really need to explain why, if there's a semi-good ritual deck out there.
You do not have to explain this, I get it.
Yeah, no, for people who don't get it, if there's a semi-good ritual deck, this card would be played at free, would be searched hard, just because this is broken. This is genuinely broken. Locking your opponent out of any extra deck plays, or any advanced plays for that matter. It's just not fun. Once this card is played, your opponent is relying on their spell and trap back row, and if you have something against that, like against spell cards, like Spell Canceller even, you're already locking your opponent out of like 90% of plays, so this card should remain banned. It should never have been printed.
All copies should be burned.
I mean, it's not as bad as Red Medicine, but still.
I mean,
Anyway, we're at Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. It's a Dark Dragon level 1 tuner with 400 attack, 300 defense, and you can target one Buster Blader you control. Equip this monster from your hand or field to the target. While this card is equipped, your opponent cannot special monsters from the extra deck. While this card is equipped to a monster, you can special summon this equipped card. You can only use this effect of the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword once per turn. Now, Firespark, why do you think this is banned?
wait a sec, let me just reread it. You can target one monster player you control. This monster from your hand. Once the card is equipped, your opponent cannot special summon. What?
Yeah, so
What? That's just like.
this card exists since 2016. It only got added onto the ban list in the most recent one because of a Link monster called Union Carrier. Because Union Carrier could equip this monster from the deck to any dragon monster.
Oh darn.
So yeah, at that point, this card became so problematic because people were spamming it. For Buster Blader, it wasn't even that bad, because Buster Blader wasn't consistent enough to pull this off. But, yeah, outside of it, with just a Union Carrier spam, it was too powerful and could too frequently be equipped. So, yeah, that's a simple explanation. It's again a card that locks out the extra deck immediately.
I still haven't seen any card more powerful than Red Medicine.
I mean, yes, to be fair, but it's hard to match Red Medicine.
We're just gonna keep that joke in the whole video.
Someone is going to join in halfway and be like, "What the fuck? What are you talking about Red Medicine for?"
I think we covered that in the beginning of the video.
Yeah, I'm saying if they join in now, because this is a stream, anyone can walk in at any time.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, Eclipse Wyvern. Fun fact, I once had, while at a Yu-Gi-Oh store, the owner actually once told me, no, it's Wyvern.
Wyvern?
Wyvern.
Okay, well, what was its source?
Well, nothing, because the official sources clearly said it's Wyvern. He for some reason thought it was supposed to be Wyvern. Anyway, it's a light dragon, level 4 effect monster with 1600 attack and 1000 defense. If this card is sent to the graveyard, banish one level 7 or higher light or dark dragon type monster from your deck. If this card is banished from your graveyard, you can add the banished monster to the hand. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know exactly why this is banned.
Yeah, it doesn't seem too bad.
But I believe there was something you could do with this, which really broke the game. But that's kind of it for all banned cards. But there was something. I believe there was like a dragon that liked being banished. Like there was some dragon monster that activated when banished, I believe, something like that. And you could summon it, or you could banish this for like darkness metal. All that kind of jazz.
Then sort of an instant win kind of shit.
But this card was mostly, I believe, a play extender more than anything else. It didn't do much. It didn't do much on its own, basically, but it comboed so well with most decks that it did cause some problems.
So should it stay banished?
It probably should stay banned, but I'm not 100% sure what people did with it. You're gonna hear this a lot because I haven't been around for like all the formats. Anyway, next up is Elder Entity Norden. This is a pretty famous card actually. Water attributes, fairy monster, level 4, fusion with 2000 attack and 2200 defense. When this card is special summoned, target one level 4 or lower monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Its effects are negated, also banish it when it leaves the field. Now, I know exactly why this card is banned. Firespark, what do you think?
Okay, let me just see.
Oh,
we need two single or exceed monsters. And when this card is special summoned, you can target one level 4 or lower monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but its effects are negated, and also banish it when this card leaves the field. So what's the catch?
The catch is that with instant fusion, you could make this without fusion materials. So
Oh,
you had one card easily leading into two. This card was out during the Zodiac era, where rank 4s were ridiculously powerful, and Zodiac was dominating the meta for a very long time. And this card was part of the problem. Link's monsters have not made this card any weaker because there's just more you can do with it now.
yeah, okay.
So yeah, this card is just another card. Like, it combos too well with other cards, and it's like, either get this like staple that's this card that has been a staple for literal years and ban it, or ban this card the reason they came in and broke that card. So I think they made the best decision by banning Norden, because otherwise people would no longer be able to make their instant fusion plays. But yeah, just summoning, and it says when this card leaves the field, so it doesn't even banish it when the other card leaves the field. So that's interesting, but yeah, it's at the rightful spot at banned. Let's move on. Fairy Tale Snow. Oh, I know this card. I've ran it for a while. A light spellcaster, level 4 effect monster with 1850 attack and 1000 defense. If this card's normal or special summons, target one face-up monster your opponent controls face down with it. If this card's in your graveyard, you can banish 7 other cards from your hand, field, and or graveyard, special summon this card. This card gave me fucking nightmares at one point. You still there?
Yeah, I'm just reading.
Oh, okay. I mean, I read it out loud.
I know, but when you read it out loud, it's harder for me to follow and quite really process.
It's free with the process, okay.
Yeah.
The
Okay, so is it like too recyclable?
Yep. There was a time when you had the deck. Lightsworn, Fairy Tale, Dinosaur, and like 2 other things. And this card was one of the ace cards from it. Basically, you could keep. You would almost guaranteed with another spell card, the Grass Look Screener, I believe it's called. It's also banned. You could easily send this to the graveyard. It would have 20 cards in your graveyard, and you could just keep banishing and summoning this, flipping monsters face down all the while. Stopping it once would never stop it completely. And yes, it is self-recycling and does it very well. So yeah.
No.
Stay banned, fucker.
You can also be nice, you know.
I could be a douche. But I won't, because I am an asshole. But anyway, we're at Fiber Jar. Eat your fibers. It's an earth plant level 3 effect monster with 500 attack and defense. Flip. Each player shovels all cards from their hand, field, and graveyard into the deck and then draw 5 cards.
So that's like hand refresher plus deck restorer.
Yeah, I would guess that this was mostly used in things like Chain Burn. Decks that would burn through their resources very quickly and fill up their graveyard with good cards. You could just restart, basically.
Yeah.
Every time this card's flipped, you restart the duel.
Restore!
Yeah, okay, so I only have 2 cards left. I set a monster face down and I flip it open with this card. Oh, goodbye. We're starting again. Yeah. Not a good thing. And there's probably some other way to abuse it, but I'm not aware of it. Anyway, we're coming up to one of the most powerful cards in the game. Firewall Dragon. It's a light Cyber's Link 4 monster with 2500 attack and an arrow pointing up, down, left, and right. It requires 2+ monsters, the most generic materials you can have, and one spell discards face them in the field, quick effect. You can target monsters on the field up to the number of monsters co-linked to this card, return them to the hand. If a monster discards points to destroyed by battle or sent to the graveyard, expect summon one monster from your hand. Now, Firespark, where's the catch?
Let me. Once on the field, you can target monsters on the field and or graveyard up to number of monsters co-linked to this card. Return them to the hand. And if a monster. Oh, so you can get a lot of good monsters to your hand, and then special summon them really easily.
Well, that was not the big problem. The big problem was that this card was looping like crazy.
Oh.
Cannon Soldier loops, Goki loops into Extra Link, which at the time meant that your opponent couldn't play an extra deck.
Oh, well, shit.
Yep, and I mean the first effect is nice. That's on top of that as well. It was easy to summon. Like any deck could make this. It had a decent amount of attack power, and it looped like crazy. For the average deck, for the average link spamming deck, this was a god basically. And it could all be solved if Konami was smart enough to add a once per turn clause on these kind of cards. You really gotta wonder sometimes how they're like, okay, this card can keep summoning monsters, and it's fine. How do you even come to that conclusion that is fine and balanced?
I mean, I suppose they just think of those cards in their head, with in their head the idea of using it once per turn or once per duel or a few times per turn, but not like infinitely. And then they make the card, and then afterwards they're like, oh wait, this is way too powerful.
This card, like the card that loop with it, were either very well known cards, or they were cards that came out in the same set. So no, they were just really not thinking.
Okay.
Because it's, for instance, Goki, which searches every time something is sent to the graveyard. So you could keep sending something to the graveyard, searching something, and immediately summoning what you searched. And then whatever you searched could search as well.
Go to the next card.
Yes, we're going to the next card, which Fishborg Blaster. Fucking hell, that sounds dumb as fuck. It's a water fish monster, level 1, tuner, 100 attack, 200 defense, and if you control a face-up, level 3 or lower water monster, you can discard one card, special summon this card from your graveyard. Now, I know why this is banned. This is banned because of Kriston Helvenibrax. I can never remember that card name, but
okay,
it's going to be relevant a few more times, so I'm going to look it up real quick.
What's the deal then with the called?
Helquafibrax. This is Helquafibrax, which is the more problematic card. A water link to a machine with 1500 attack and an arrow pointing left down and right down. 2 monsters, including a tuner. If this card is link summoned, you can special summon one level 3 or lower tuner monster from your hand or deck. In defense position, but it cannot activate its effects this turn. During your opponent's main phase or battle phase, you can ban this card you control, special one tuner or synchro from your extra deck. Well, that's not very relevant. It relevant is that when it's link summoned, you can immediately special summon a level 3 or lower tuner, and then use that together with this to make another one of this. And if you use cards like Fishborg, which can revive themselves, you'd have a bit of a spam going on. While it says it cannot activate its effects this turn, those kind of effects usually only apply on the field. So the moment it goes to graveyard, you have full access to those effects, like Fishborg Blaster. So that's why we had to look it up real quick, because this is the problem card, and it is a big problem card. This card is the one that should be banned, and not this. This effect is decent, but it is not game breaking. This, however, is what's breaking the game. And people are basically at every list. Are they gonna ban this thing? I don't know. But yeah, this needs to be banned.
I'd say write a letter to Konami.
Hmm?
I'd say write a letter to Konami.
Konami doesn't listen. Like, the problem is that card's relatively new, so it's easier to sell sets with it in it, which is only dual overload at the moment. While Fishborg Blaster has been printed in how long? Hold up, let me check. It hasn't been printed since 2011. Yeah. A glow up bulb. Same story. Alquifibrex. It's an Earth plant, level 1 tuner, 100 attack and defense, and if it's in the graveyard, send the top card of your deck to the graveyard and special summon this card. Now, to be fair, this card could also be banned on its own merits because it is pretty good. It is a little better than Fishborg, but it's once per duel restriction.
I remember using Glow Up Bulb in my.
You Synchros, yeah?
Was it my Gearnia deck or my Synchro deck?
Probably Synchros, because this doesn't do shit for Xyz summons, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, this card, it is good. And it might have gotten banned on its own merits, but I think it's another Alquifibrex victim. Because, as handy as this effect is, it is one hard once, and you'd normally need some effort to bring it out. Well, some effort, either normal summon it or you summon it from deck with 1-for-1 or something. But I don't think, again, I think this is more a case of Alquifibrex needs to be banned rather than...
Yeah, because I remember it not being banned.
Yeah, at some point it wasn't banned.
Whoa.
It's too bad they don't show you in what list it got banned, because that would give me that clue of if it was banned on its own or Alquifibrex. Anyway, next up is Grinder Golem. Now, this thing is badass. It's a Dark Fiend, level 8 effect monster with 3000 attack and 300 defense. It cannot be special summoned. It cannot be normal summoned. It must first be special summoned from your hand to your opponent's side of the field by special summoning 2 Grinder tokens on your field. If you special summon this monster, you cannot normal summon or set a monster during the same turn. I remember this card getting banned. I remember hearing the reason. I completely forgot the reason. It could be another case of what I talked about earlier of link spam, because you get 2 tokens. And if you return this card to the hand, you can actually do it again. And you can keep summoning tokens that way. If you have something that consistently bounces this thing, you can keep making tokens.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that is it, but because I can't imagine anything else. It has to be the tokens being spammed for something, because giving this to your opponent is... that's pretty bad, you know, it's 3k attack. Which, honestly, if you summon that on turn 1 to your opponent's side of the field, isn't going to be a big deal, but... You probably got rid of it before you even end your turn. Anyway, next up is Guard Dragon Agarpain. This card is a pain, in fact. I know this one. It's a Dark Dragon Link 2 monster with 1500 attack and an arrow pointing up and down. It requires 2 dragon monsters, which, I don't think there's that many dragons in Yu-Gi-Oh! Come on.
Yeah, it's really underused.
Underused type, yeah. Anyway, you cannot special monsters except dragon monsters. Ooh, scary. During your main phase, you can special one dragon monster from your extra deck to an extra monster zone or main monster zone. You can summon that 2 or more link monsters point to. You can only use this effect of Agarpain once per turn. You can only special summon Agarpain once per turn. Problem with this? You could make very powerful monsters. Because dragon is the most used type. There's so many good dragons in the extra deck. People were abusing this. It's that simple. Just all the free guard dragons were used in OTK strategies, basically. And not just the average ones, it was like turn 1 OD. No, not turn 1. They weren't FTK, but on turn 1 they'd put out such a field of negates that you could not play the game anymore. And this card stood at the center of that. It's not fun when your opponent begins the duel by summoning 3 cards that can negate everything. And yeah, this card was, again, the big perpetrator. So yeah, there's not much to be said about this.
Don't say much.
I haven't. Next up is Heavy Metal Foes Electromite. A Fire Psychic Link 2 monster with 1800 attack and are pointing left down and right down. If this card is Link summoned, you can add 1 Pendulum monster from your deck to your extra deck face up. Once per turn, you can target 1 face up card you control, destroy it, add 1 face up Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. If a card in the Pendulum zone leaves the field to draw 1 card, you can only use this effect with Heavy Metal Foes once per turn. Now, where is the problem, Firespark? I think he's still reading.
Yeah, sorry.
It's fine.
Then you can target 1.
We've been going for an hour and we aren't even at spell cards yet.
Oh. So you get a Pendulum monster from your deck, place it on your extra deck, then you target 1 face, you destroy 1 face card of yours, and then add that Pendulum monster to your hand.
Yes. And if you're smart, you target 1 card in your Pendulum zones, you also draw a card. This card circumvented one of the most popular ways to stop searches, which is Ash Blossom, because it technically doesn't search from the deck. It places from deck to extra deck, and then from extra deck to hand, which is hard to negate. At least with hand traps.
And also if you destroy from your extra deck, not only do you draw another card, you can also place that Pendulum monster you just added to your hand.
Yep, you
in your Pendulum zone.
And if you picked, like, if you're smart, you also pick the Pendulum monster that does something when destroyed. This card is just a whole heap of shenanigans waiting to happen.
Yep.
And it did. So,
yeah, otherwise it wouldn't be banned.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's either it pulls shenanigans or the card that pulls shenanigans with it, which we talked about, but the Helquifibrex bans. But anyway, let's move on to IP, the World Chalice Justicia. Justicia? How would you pronounce that? Justiciar?
Justiciar.
Justiciar, okay. It's a water spellcaster, level 5 synchro tuner effect monster with 1800 attack, 2100 defense, requiring only a tuner and 1 or more non-tuners. For this card's synchro summon, you can treat 1 World Chalice normal monster you control as a tuner. Irrelevant. When this card is synchro summoned, add 1 World Legacy card from your deck to your hand. If this synchro summoned card is sent from field to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 World Chalice monster from your deck or graveyard, except Justiciar. Just Desire.
Desire.
Yeah. Problem with this is there's a lot of good World Legacy cards. A lot.
I don't know anything about World Chalice, so you know.
Well, we're talking about World Legacy technically, which World Chalice is a part of, but there's like 20 other archetypes that are part of the World Legacy, and this supports all of them basically by saying World Legacy. And
shit!
These decks, it'd be fine if they were all at the level of Crawler, which is one of the weaker ones among them. But you have things like Orcust and Crusadia, which were meta defining at one point.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds a bit OP.
Yep. And then, of course, when sent to the graveyard, you also summon a World Chalice monster, so... yeah, that's just a little insult to injury. Yeah. We have another victim here. It's Jet Synchron, another Helquifibrex victim. It's a fire
Oh
machine.
yeah, it was banned. Why is that banned?
Helquifibrex. Do you get why some people want to see Helquifibrex banned? Because this is the first card
Yeah,
where I have to
yeah.
mention
Jet
that
Synchron was a fun card. I played it.
it is a fun card. It honestly isn't that powerful. But anyway, we're
Yeah.
gonna have to cover it anyway because it is banned. It's a fire machine, level 1 tuner, 500 attack, no defense. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a sync material, you can add one junk monster from your deck to your hand. If this card's in the graveyard, you can send one card from your hand to the graveyard. Special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use one Jet Synchron effect per turn, and only once that turn.
Yeah.
So yeah, you summon this with Helquifibrex done. That is it. That's why it's banned.
But Jet Warrior.
You're gonna have to use a quick draw synchron whose level has been lowered.
Yeah, but you can't summon Jet Warrior without Jet Synchron.
There are some cards that substitute for other synchron monsters, including quick draw, which is
Yeah,
why I mentioned it. But yeah, it just stinks for people who like.
Can it change its name? Quick Draw.
Quick draw counts as any synchron monster.
Oh. Oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's what I mean with substitute. But anyway, it's just another Helquifibrex victim. There's not much to say about it being overpowered. It summons itself from the graveyard, and that is why. Next up is Nightmare Goblin, a wind themed Link 2 monster with 1300 attack, an arrow pointing left, an arrow pointing right, requiring 2 monsters with different names. If this card is link summoned during your turn, you can discard 1 card. If this card was co-linked when this effect is activated, you can draw 1 card. Also, you can normal summon 1 extra time this turn. To a zone this card points to. In addition to your normal summon set, you can only apply the effect of Nightmare Goblin once per turn. Neither player can target co-linked monster you control with card effects. This was used in conjunction with Firewall Dragon mostly, because it really allowed you to extend your plays much further. It's basically just some cards that, due to the extra normal summon they gave, you could combo the fuck out of the game. And this was just one of them.
Next.
Yep. Should it stay banned? Probably. Nightmare Mermaid. A water fiend, link 1 monster with 1000 attack and an arrow pointing down. 1 Nightmare monster except Nightmare Mermaid. If this card is link summoned, discard 1 card, special summon a Nightmare from your deck. Then if this card was co-linked while this effect is activated, draw 1 card. Monster on field lose 1000 attack and defense unless they're co-linked. Now this was used. This was mostly used. There are like 2 nightmares in the main deck, and both of them are pretty good to summon. This was used with Orcust to easily make Orcust the nightmare, or to summon Eep of the nightmares, which caused your opponent to be locked into link plays, I believe. Which was very bad for decks that didn't use. Hold on. Yeah, it's Corruptor Ibli. Hold up. This card's actually important for this one. You target 1 link monster in your graveyard, special summon it, blah blah blah. You cannot special summon monsters except link monsters if this card's in owner control sent to the graveyard. Special summon this card to your opponent's field. So this card would you summon this card, use it to link summon, and then your opponent is stuck in link summoning. And it's special summon, so they couldn't even get additional materials out easily. And that is why Mermaid got the boot. Yeah, and you have like 2 others it can summon, but those aren't nearly as relevant as this thing. So yeah, this card should probably stay banned for now. Anyway, next up, Lavalval Chain. Are you still keeping up, Firespark?
I'm getting a bit tired.
Oh. Well, we've only been going for an hour, jeez.
Yeah, sorry, bro.
Hmm?
I've been up since 4:45. Okay.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Well, okay, I have slept like about 1.5 hour in the afternoon, but still,
Still,
I've been,
let's just continue.
yeah. Let's continue.
Yeah, if you really can't like take it anymore, just say it, then I'll end the stream.
Yeah, I'll just a few more cards.
Okay, anyway, we're at Lavalval Chain.
Yeah,
Fire, Sea Serpent, rank 4, Xyz monster, 1800 attack, 1000 defense, and once per turn. And it requires 2 level 4 monsters. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz monster from this card, activate one of these effects. Mill a card, or choose a monster from your deck and place it on top of your deck. Now, I think the problem is the fact that it's a foolish burial in monster form. Just being able to send a card from the deck to the graveyard tends to be really good.
and from your deck to the top of your deck.
Ooh, oh no, what if I survive an entire turn off of this thing? Then I draw one monster that I wanted. No, it's really about its first effect. Because putting the
Yeah,
stuff in the graveyard is really good. You have to
yeah,
realize
okay, great.
cards that
That's
straight up say dump something in the graveyard have already been limited before. So yeah. Well, considering you're getting a bit tired, there's just one card that I think we should cover, at least. It's Pot of Greed.
Yeah, well, what does it do?
Yeah, well, that's why it's banned, of course. It's you can't even figure out what it does. Judges were confused across the country. No, okay. To get serious, do you know why this card is banned?
Because it has no cost and it gives you 2 extra cards.
Now, the most specific reason is trying to name a reason to not run Pot of Greed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unless you're running super heavy samurais, which is very specific. You are running 3 pots of greed because
Yeah.
there is no downside. There's no cost. There's no restrictions. And you have to realize that even cards with like enormous restrictions on them, like Desires and Extravagance, which have a high cost and restrictions on them, they are still played. So you really can see how powerful a draw 2 is.
Yeah.
And then you have one that has no cost. So that is to make it clear for any like casual players that's like, why the fuck is Pot of Greed banned? Well, that's why. There's no reason to not run it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to cover that because it is a very well known card.
Well, yeah, but it's most commonly known for the mystery around it. Like,
Well, it's also very much a staple card for anyone that watched the show because it appeared so many times.
yeah.
I found this one another interesting one, which I at least wanted to cover. It's Victory Dragon, a Dark Dragon level 8 effect monster with 2400 attack and 3000 defense. This card cannot be special summoned. To tribute summon this card, you must tribute 3 dragon type monsters, and if this card attacks your opponent directly and reduces their life points to 0, you win the match. Simply put,
You win the match.
yeah, you win the match duel. So you can in 1 round end a best of 3.
Yeah, but if this card attacks your opponent directly and reduces their life points to 0, you win the match. Yeah, but that's all. If you attack your opponent and reduce their life points to 0, you win the match.
Now you win the round, but on an official tournament you play match duels, which is a best of 3.
Oh. So this is even if it's your first win, you win the match.
Yeah, the match immediately ends. Now the problem with that isn't its effect, because due to its summoning condition, nobody would play this anyway. But if someone does, there is a ruling issue. Is a player allowed to surrender while Victory Dragon's on the field? Yes or no?
I mean, why not?
Yeah, that's the problem. That makes Victory Dragon unplayable, because the moment you summon it and your opponent realizes it's going to kill me, I surrender. I didn't lose the match because you didn't attack with Victory Dragon. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And otherwise you'd have to restrict surrenders. You can
Yeah.
hardly say that if Victory Dragon is on the field, you're not allowed to surrender. Then you have to make it.
Yeah.
You can't surrender during your opponent's turn.
Or you can't surrender. Yeah, when you have no monsters on the field.
Yeah,
Shit.
but that's the problem. Have you ever? Some people play the clock,
Yeah.
which is they make like a million moves. Like let's say there's 5 minutes on the clock, they'll start making like a million moves on their turn. You're already chanceless, and if you have to wait it out, that's not fun. Because yeah, they can just time is up. Okay, next round. Oh, sorry, I win because you couldn't surrender. So surrendering needs to be readily available, and this card would need surrendering to not be readily available. That is why it's banned. Because you can't make a good ruling on this card.
Yeah, okay.
Even though it's shit. It like in every other aspect, it's absolute shit. It cannot be special summoned at all. It requires 3 tributes, all needing to be dragon. And it has to reduce the opponent's life points to 0 to even activate its only effect. So yeah, by all means it's shit, but also impossible to make a fair ruling on. Okay, for now I'm just gonna pick up the list again, because there's nothing else that's like particularly bad for the game.
Yeah.
Next up we have Level Eater. Oh crap, I forgot the new middle mouse click. Oh well. It's a dark insect level 1 effect monster with 600 attack and no defense. If discards in your graveyard, target one level 5 or higher monster you control.
Oh, why?
Reduce its level by 1, and if you do, special summon this card. This card on the field cannot be tributed except for a tribute summon. Now, Firespark, what was the Y for?
My freaking birds are freaking annoying because they make freaking noise.
Ah, that.
They be quiet all the time.
Hold on, we have bird issues.
Anyhow.
Anyway, we're another one of your old cards.
Yeah, this is one of the cards I used.
Yep, and it is banned.
Yeah, I know. What's the freaking deal?
It's accessible as fuck. You can see that they kept printing it until like 2016, and I think that's the year it got banned. Because you make a big synchro, you could, if you made a level 8 monster, you could summon this card 4 times from the graveyard.
Hold up, let me just real quick check if I might still accidentally have it in my synchro deck.
Can you do that after the stream?
You can just keep on streaming. I'm just real quick gonna check my deck.
Because I'm pretty sure I already had you take it out years ago. Because again, this card's banned for 4 years. You've taken it out by now. I think the only card you're gonna find.
I'm just checking.
You're gonna find Jet Synchron though.
No, I've taken that out. I remember that.
Oh, okay. Anyway, next up is Link Cross, one of the new Forbidden cards. A light Cybers Link 1 monster with 900 attack and an arrow pointing down. It requires 1 Link 2 or higher Link monster, and if this card is Link summoned, you can activate this effect. Special summon a number of Link tokens up to the Link rating on the monster used for this card's Link summon. Also, you cannot use Link tokens as Link material for the rest of this turn. I am not too sure. I am genuinely not too sure what was up with this card. You could easily make a bunch of tokens, but the fact that you can't use them for Link summon really does make me think like what happened here. I know this is another thing with like Alquifibrax. I heard that much because you could combo it somehow. I think you're gonna use the tokens for Synchro Summon then? Not too sure. But yeah. It's just another card that easily makes tokens and that's it.
Okay.
So there's not too much, nothing too special further about this card. Anyway, next up is Luna Light Tiger. A light beast warrior pendulum effect monster, level 3, skill 5 with 1200 attack and 800 defense. Its pendulum effect is once per turn you can target a Lunite monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but it cannot attack, and its effects are negated, also destroyed during the end phase. And if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one Lunite monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use this effect once per turn. Its problem is probably its pendulum effect, which doesn't have only has a normal once per turn restriction. So if you blow this up and play a new one, you can summon another one from the grave. You can kind of keep going with this thing.
Oh.
It's like you play this in the pendulum zone, summon something back, destroy it, summon something else with its monster effect, and then play a new one, then summon something from the graveyard again. That's quite a lot of summons. So yeah. Next up, MX Saber Invoker. Earth Warrior, rank 3, Xyz effect monster, 1600 attack, 500 defense. 2 level 3 monsters. Once per turn, detach 1 Xyz material from this card. Special summon 1 level 4 Earth Warrior or Beast Warrior monster from your deck in defense position, but destroy it during the end phase.
I mean, what's even the point?
Oh, what of this thing?
Link, Synchro, or Xyz summon, of course.
Well, I happen to know that Earth Warrior Warrior Spam was at one point a very good deck, and this was just part of it. It's very cheap to make. It allows you to immediately summon more from your deck. It is a play extender, I think, a very good one at that.
Yeah, but also, destroyed in the end phase.
Yeah.
The summoned monster, but that doesn't mean you can't summon from the extra deck with them. So
yeah, you can still easily summon from the extra deck with them before you end your turn. So yeah, Magical Scientist. This man is a walking contradiction. Anyway, it's a dark spellcaster, level 1, effect monster, 300 attack and defense. Pay 1000 life points to special summon 1 level 6 or lower fusion monster from your extra deck in phase of attack or defense position. It cannot attack your opponent's life points directly and is returned to the extra deck at the end of the turn. Yeah, that is very powerful. It doesn't have a restriction on it. You can keep summoning.
Fusion summon without fusion restriction?
Yeah, it says special summon. It doesn't say fusion summon. You can make it without materials.
What? Yeah, that's OP.
Yeah, especially because you can keep going. You can see this card is from 2003, when the game just started. At that point, it wouldn't even have been that big a deal. Still quite a big deal, but not that big. Currently, this card is the combo piece of a lifetime. You summon it and you have immediate access to enough monsters to fill your field.
Yeah. And very powerful ones at that.
Yeah, level 6 or lower is like the only restriction, which a meta player would laugh at you if you call that a restriction. Anyway, next up is Magispector Unicorn Kirin. A wind spellcaster, level 6, pendulum skill 2, pendulum monster with 2000 attack and defense. It has no pendulum effects. That's kind of a massive downside, but it has a monster effect. During either player's turn, you can target 1 pendulum monster in your monster zone and 1 monster your opponent controls, return them to the hands. You can only use this effect once per turn and cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Being able to bounce like the first big combo piece your opponent plays every turn, I can see why they didn't want this any anymore. It's easy to summon, it is versatile enough. And yeah, and it's protecting itself constantly with a very good protection, honestly. So it's hard to get rid of this thing because it's going to bounce itself.
Bouncer, bouncer,
Yeah. Anyway,
bounce, bounce, bounce.
Masterpiece, the true Draco slaying king. A light worm monster, level 8, with 2950 attack and defense, and attribute discarded. Face up, you can tribute continuous spell and trap cards you control, as well as monsters, unaffected by the effects of cards with the same type, monster spell and or trap, as the original card types with the cards tributed for a tribute summon. Once per turn, during either player's turn, if you control this tribute summon card, you can banish one continuous spell or trap card from your graveyard, target one other card on the field, destroy it. This card is broken with a capital B. You just summon this thing by tributing a spell and a monster, and your opponent needs trap cards to get rid of it, which not a lot of people run anymore.
But I think Trump would be a fan of this card because it's the true dragon slaying king. All other dragon slaying kings are fake.
Yes. But yeah. Anyway, this card it's already hard to beat because you can hardly beat it with effects. You can still beat over it, but then its other effect kicks in and just blows up whatever you have set up against it. Oh, you summoned the Blue Eyes White Dragon to kill this thing? Fuck you, it's destroyed. And it can do that every turn. As a quick effect.
But Blue Eyes is the most powerful cards of all duel monsters. They only made 3 in the whole world.
Incorrect, they made 4.
Oh, right. That's true.
He doesn't even know his lore anymore.
No, they made 4, but only 3 of them still exist.
Yeah, the other one is taped back together. Anyway, next up is Max C. A Earth Insect level 2 effect monster with 500 attack, 200 defense, and the effect. During either player's turn, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Each time your opponent special summons a monster, immediately draw 1 card. Well, this is another Pot of Greed case.
Yeah, too easy draw.
And this draws more than Pot of Greed usually does. Either that or your opponent has to be like, you know what, I won't make my turn. Fuck you. Yeah. You get nothing.
I draw. I end my turn.
I draw, you set up for the special summon, and they're like, no, Maxi. And at that point, you were like, either I'm going to stop special summoning, or I am literally just going to give my opponent 10 cards. Because this is usually activated after like the first monster or spell effect that would summon anything. So you're guaranteed 1 draw off of this. And, well, the rest is up to your opponent. But yeah, it's another case of Pot of Greed, where there is no reason to not run it. Okay, we have another Helcofibrax victim. Mecha Phantom Beast, Oleon.
Isn't it Orion?
Yeah, but I like to pronounce it Oleon. Sounds more satellite-y.
I mean, that almost sounds like Odeon, the henchman of Merrick.
Yes. Which uses the embodiment of a Popus.
A Popus?
Yes, that's how it pronounces it in the series, alright?
Why?
Anyway, it's a winged machine, level 2 tuner with 600 attack, 1000 defense, and while you control a token, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. If this card is sent to the graveyard, special summon a Mecha Phantom Beast token. You can only use this effect once per turn. Once per turn, you can manage this card from your graveyard. Immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon 1 Mecha Phantom Beast monster from your hand. Now, the fact that matters is the fact that if it's sent to the graveyard, you summon a token. Bonus points if you have another Oleon in your hand, which you can normal summon. So yeah, this is
I mean,
another.
it's clearly a line. I mean, look at the head of that thing. It's a lion's head.
Anyway, so Oleon is just another victim of Helcofibrax. It was before that nobody was even batting an eye at this thing. So,
It's still so fine.
Should it stay banned? No, it should go to free. Helcofibrax on banned. Do it, Konami. Just do it.
Just do it.
Mind Master. A light psychic, level 1 tuner with 100 attack, 200 defense, pay 800 life points, and tribute 1 psychic monster except Mind Master to special summon a level 4 lower psychic from your deck in face of attack position.
What's the big deal?
I'm not 100% on that, but the fact that you can summon. You can keep using this effect. You can use it up to 9 times without having to play red medicine. And I'm sure there's something you can do with this. Just by you can technically empty your deck with this effect. You can keep tributing monsters and summoning new ones. Add in a couple of draw effects, and you could probably use this in Exodia. Just for the fact that it can empty your deck quickly. But yeah, besides that, I'm not too sure. Next up is number 16, Shockmaster. A light fairy rank 4 exceeds 2300 attack, 1600 defense, requiring 3 level 4 monsters. Once per turn, detach 1 exceeds material from this card, declare a card type, monster, spell, or trap. That type of card, if spell or trap card, cannot be activated, or if monster cannot activate its effects until the end of your opponent's next turn. Can you see the problem here? Parspark? You still there? Hello? Hey, hello? Did I just lose contact? No, I think the call is still going. Oh crap, I forgot that Discord's on my first screen, not my second. Hello? Hello? I think I just lost them. I don't know if his internet crapped out or if... Oh, wait. I'm hearing something. Firespark, are you back?
Yeah, I never left. It's just my battery was dying. Is still dying.
Oh.
Okay, now I properly plugged my thing in. So it should be. It's charging now.
Okay.
So I can actually talk again.
Okay. So Firespark, what do you think is the problem with Shockmaster?
Let me sneeze first. Okay.
Interesting commentary.
Okay. Well, first of all, its number is 16 instead of 69, which is not nice.
I mean, there can only be one number 69, and it's shit.
Why is it shit?
It's very reliant on your opponent playing Xyz monsters, that's why.
But number 69 has to be nice.
Yeah, that's what everyone thinks, but Konami was like, here, have a heraldic beast on it. Nobody cares. Take
Anyhow,
it!
one turn, detach one exceed material, declare monster spell or trap, and that type of card, spell or trap, cannot be activated, or if it's a monster, cannot activate its effects until the end of your opponent's next turn. So you can basically block your opponent's entire turn.
you can block like half their turn. Declaring either monster, which means they cannot activate monster effects at all, or spell card, which means they're shit out of luck with spells.
Yeah.
And you can do this 3 times because it has free Xyz material. The chance of locking your opponent out with this is enormous.
Yeah. So that's pretty broken.
Yep. Moving on is another number monster. Fun fact, number is the most banned archetype out there. With four monsters of the archetype on the ban list, but at the same time being one of the shittiest archetypes for having no consistency. Anyway, next up is number 42, Galaxy Tomahawk. It's a wind machine, rank 7 monster with no attack, 3000 defense, and requiring 2 level 7s. Once per turn, detach 2 Xyz materials from this card. Special summon as many Battle Eagle tokens. Level 6, 2000 attack, 0 defense, machine types, winds as possible. Destroy them during the end phase of this turn. Also, your opponent takes no further damage this turn. Now, this is another case of you can link spam with the fuck with this, because you summon 5 monsters, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it isn't even like this card actually appeared in the manga. You can't even use it in the same way because of all the weird restrictions they put on it, which only make it useful for this, for the link spam. It's kind of it was a shit card until link rules came along. So yeah, not much more to say on that. Number 86, Heroic Champion Rongo Miniat. A Dark Warrior rank 4 Xyz with 1500 attack and defense, requiring 2 or more, maximum of 5, level 4 warrior monsters. Once per turn, during your opponent's end phase, detach 1 Xyz material from this card. This card gains effect based on the number of Xyz materials attached to it. For 1, it cannot be destroyed by battle. On its second one...
1 or more.
Yeah. Well, it just gains effects depending for every Xyz material it has. 2, 1500 attack and defense. 3, unaffected by other card effects. 4, your opponent cannot normal or special summon monsters. 5, destroy all cards your opponent controls once per turn.
I mean, I can see the issue.
Yeah, fun fact, there are also cards that attach more materials. So, you could keep going with this thing.
Yeah, but also, it's unaffected by card effects, and your opponent cannot normal or special summon monsters. Like you're again blocking your opponent, and you can like wipe out your opponent's field. Like if you summon this with 5 monsters, you can wipe out your opponent's field, and for like
the next
the rest
2 turns, your opponent cannot normal or special summon, has to rely on setting. You are not affected by this restriction, so you can just summon again on your next turn.
And it's unaffected by card effects, so even if he played like a spell or a trap, it won't work. And it has 1500 extra attack and defense, so it does extra damage. And it cannot be destroyed with battle.
Yeah, so the 1500 attack and defense make it an actually decent beat stick. That's a... Jesus, like what the this is another card. It was unbanned for so long, and people were wondering why. Because this is ass to play against. I have played against this, and it was like, okay, I set a monster, it's destroyed. I set a monster, it's destroyed. I attach another material, so you can't do anything yet. Okay. It's not fun to play against. It's overpowered as fuck on every front. Like, its 1+ and 2+ effects are fine. 3+ it starts to be questionable. 4+ is broken as fuck. 5 is actually fine. I think destroying all cards your opponent controls is not the big issue here. It is effect 3 and effect 4 that form the core.
That especially.
Especially
but just
4.
Effect 5 is just the extra.
It's just a cherry on top, more or less.
Yeah.
On this big fuck you Sunday.
Yeah.
And then we're moving on to the last of the band numbers. Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon, which is number 95 for the ones wondering. Hold on, let me. So, out of these 4 banned numbers, 1 appeared in the anime and 2 are from the manga. Jeez. Manga cards are overpowered. Anyway, it's a Dark Dragon rank 9 with 4,000 attack, no defense, requiring 3 level 9 monsters. But you can also Xyz summon this using a Galaxy Eyes Xyz monster you control as the material. Transfer materials cannot be used as an Xyz material for an Xyz summon. When this card is Xyz summoned, you can send 3 dragon type monsters with different names from your deck to the graveyard. Your opponent banishes 3 monsters from their deck. Detach 1 Xyz from this card. This card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase this turn. This card was spammed the hell out of when it was still legal.
Yeah, I can understand that.
You can set up your own graveyard while forcing your opponent to banish. It's not fun.
No.
Unless your opponent has something with the banished, they are going to be mad. And if they do have something with the banished, you already saw it coming before you summon this kind of beast. It's easy enough to summon because there's plenty of Galaxy Eyes Xyz monsters that require 2 level 8s. Like, if it was only with 3 level 9s, it would have been fine, because level 9s, rank 9 is actually decently hard to access. But rank 8 is not. So, yeah. Orcust, Harp Horror. A dark machine with 1700 attack, 1400 defense, level 4, with the following effects. You can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon an Orcust monster from your deck, except Harp Horror. Also, only summon Dark Monster for the rest of the turn. You can only use this effect once per turn. This is bad because Orcust was good. Orcust was dominating the meta, and this thing was one of its key pieces. It's on its own power, it's not that much, but the fact that it combos into too many things is what put that nail in the coffin. Moving on. Outer Entity Azathoth. Now this is Azathoth, yeah. It's a Dark Fiend, rank 5, Xyz monster, 24 attack, no defense. Requiring 3 level 5.
You're pronouncing the last T as if it's also a TH, but it's a T.
Toth?
Tot.
Toth?
Tot. That hoe over there.
Be gone, Toth.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can also Xyz summon this card by using an outer Xyz monster you control. An outer entity Xyz monster you control as material, transferred, blah, blah. Cannot be used as for an Xyz summon. As this card was Xyz summoned, your opponent cannot activate monster effects for the rest of this turn. If this card has at least 3 Xyz spheres, 1 fusion synchro, and 1 Xyz monster, detach 1 material from this card, destroy all cards your opponent controls. Now, its problematic effect is the fact that your opponent cannot activate the monster effects for the rest of the turn. Because there used to be, I think that card is currently banned, not sure, but it was a Phantom Knights card, which could summon this thing on the opponent's turn. Just at the start of their main phase, you could be like, yeah, Outer Entity Azathoth. Don't use monster effects, fuck you. Its other effects are irrelevant as fuck. You're never going to use another outer entity, because none of the others really matter. And, well, having a fusion, a synchro, and an Xyz underneath it is pretty rare. Next up is...
Wait a sec. How far are we in the ban list?
We're at the P of monsters, so... This is about the amount of monsters we still need to go.
Okay, shall we finish the monsters and then leave it at that?
Yes. And if there's ever another special, we can go over the spell cards and anything new that's been added since. Because I do want to at one point have done the entire ban list.
Yeah, sure, like next time we can do the spells and maybe even the traps.
Yeah, but I am next week there is going to be first, again, a normal one. Because I don't want to do only this.
Yeah, okay, I understand that, but like that we do this more often because it
Yeah,
is
so
fun.
this will come back eventually, and then we're gonna do the spell cards, spells and traps, I would say, because at that point.
Yeah,
But anyway, let's just continue for now.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Damn, we've been going for 1.5 hours, and we're not even done with banned monsters.
yeah. So that was kind of my point. Like, how far are we?
Before Mage Plush Fire. Look at how cute this is. This is banned for your safety.
Okay.
It's a
The guns
fire.
aren't.
It's a fire spellcaster, level 5, Pendulum Scale 5, monster with 1,000 attack and defense. Pendulum effect. If a performance monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect against best from discard from your pendulum zone, then you take 500 damage. And if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, special summon on performance from your hand or deck except plush 5. Easy to summon and is going to loop. This combined with the fact that there are plenty of perform mages that, well, there are like 2 other perform mages which were generically used for quite a while, and you have a recipe for disaster. Its Bandium skill is shit, its stats are shit, but it is purely for link plays. Or, well, anyway, I was about to say rank 5 spam, but no, it's level 4, so rank 4 spam, I guess. But it's mostly going to be links. You hear the word link come back a lot, jeez.
Gee, I wonder why that is.
Yeah, link monsters were really, They did try to battle the overpoweredness of Pendulum, but gave rise to something equally overpowered. Well, a little less at least. Anyway, next up is Performapal Monkey Board. An Earth Beast. Level 5 Pendulum monster with skill 1 and the following Pendulum effect. Unless you have a performable card in your other Pendulum zone, this card's skill becomes 4. During your main phase, if this card was activated this turn, add 1 level 4 lower Performapal monster from your deck to your hand. That's a very good searcher. You can only use this effect once per turn, hard once. Monster effect. You can discard, reveal 1 Pendulum or Odd Eyes monster in your hand, and if you do, reduce the level of that monster with that name by 1 for the rest of this turn. Well, I think this was just because Performapal was getting going places, and then having such an easily accessible searcher was not ideal. Especially because Performapal kind of ran with Pendulum Magicians, which were meta for quite a while. So yeah, Monkey Board.
What does meta even mean, actually?
Meta is the easy way to remember it is most effective tactic available, but it basically just means it's simply put, it's the best of the best. It is
At the moment.
It's the top layer of competitive play. It's called the meta.
At the moment.
Yeah, well, competitive play is a very dynamic thing, so yes.
Yeah.
And just so you know, right underneath that is what people would call rogue, which are decks that still do good, but don't get played as often. Game terminology with fire spark. Sorry, that happened. Next up is Performapal Skullcrobat Joker. A dark spellcaster, level 4, Pendulum monster, skill 8, with the following effect. The Pendulum effect is you cannot Pendulum summon monsters except Performapal Magician and Odd Eyes monsters. Magician monsters need to be Pendulum monsters, by the way. You can't go summoning the Dark Magician while this thing's on the field. That's outrageous. No, this is just to not make it encompass too many cards, I guess, because Magician is one of the most frequently used words in Yu-Gi-Oh. 1800 attack and 100.
I mean, it does not say you cannot special summon Dark Magician. It only says
You cannot pendulum summon it.
You cannot pendulum summon monsters except performable monsters or magician monsters or
a magician pendulum monsters specifically.
Or magician pendulum monsters.
That is why I specifically called out.
You can still special summon Dark Magician somehow.
Yeah, but anyway, the point was that it does not allow you to pendulum summon any random magician.
Yeah.
When this card is normal summoned, add one performable Magician Pendulum or Odd Eyes monster from your deck to your hand, except Skull Crobat. Again, this is a very easy searcher on a archetype, the Magician Pendulum, which was very powerful. And because of that, it had to go. Moving on, because there's not much more to say about it. It's because of an archetype and not because of the card itself. Phoenixian Cluster Amaryllis, a fire plant, level 8, effect monster, 2200 deck, no defense. This card cannot be special summoned except by its own effect or with Phoenixian Seed. If this card attacks, it's destroyed after damage calculation, and if this card you control is destroyed, is sent to the graveyard, inflict 800 damage to your opponent. During the end phase, remove from play one plant monster from your graveyard, special this card from your graveyard in defense position. And Phoenixian Seed says you can send this phase of card to the graveyard, the special one Amaryllis from your hand. I heard when this card was banned that it was something preemptive, because there would be some loop possible with this. Let's see, it's probably, if you have enough plants in your graveyard, you can keep destroying this card during the end phase, you can keep summoning it and dealing 800 damage.
Yeah, and if you do that 10 times, you win.
Yep.
Except, of course, if your opponent plays red medicine.
Yeah, then you need to do it 11 times.
Or 12 if he plays 3 of them.
Oh, shit! Next up is Redox, Dragon Ruler of Boulders. I think this is a similar issue. We've talked about this kind of card before, which was Blaster, which was the Dragon Ruler of Flames. I think this one has similar reasoning. Well, we're going to read it anyway, but it's an Earth Dragon.
The Boulder takes issue with this name.
It's an Earth Dragon, level 7 effect monster with 1600 attack, 3000 defense, and the following effect. If this card's in your hand or graveyard, you can manage a total of 2 Earth and or Dragon monsters, except this card special summon this card. During your opponent's end phase, if this card was special summoned, return it to the hand. Discard and 1 Earth monster to the graveyard, and target 1 monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. If this card is banished, you can add 1 Earth Dragon type monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use 1 Redox effect per turn, and only once that turn. So yeah, this was again what I said about Dragon Rulers. They all got banned, and I believe one of them did get unbanned eventually, which was the Wind one. So I'm guessing, like, remembering that, I don't think this summon effect can be used an infinite amount of times per turn, that it does count as an effect. Just also due to the wording. But it is a very versatile card, and it's useful in any deck that uses dragons. It's useful in any deck, so yeah.
The Boulder takes issue with this.
The Boulder has been banned. I'm sorry.
No, it's the ruler. It's the ruler of Boulders.
Well, his king is now banned. The Boulder has to fight alone. Anyway,
the Boulder likes to be his own boss.
Well, technically, the Boulder, even in the Avatar cartoon, he was just a wrestler. He had a boss.
I mean, I'm sorry, but you mispronounced anime.
No, because we're not talking about anime. Technically, yeah, we're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh, but we're not really talking about the anime. This card did appear in the anime, though. Selma Great, Mirage Stalio. A Fire Cyber's rank 3 Xyz monster at 2000 attack, 900 defense, requiring 2 level 3 monsters. The following effect: you can detach 1 Xyz monster from this card, special summon on Summon Great monster from your deck in defense position. Also, you cannot activate monster. Okay, I'm gonna slow down. Also, you cannot activate monster effects for the rest of the turn except fire monsters. If this card is Xyz summoned, if this Xyz summoned card is sent to the graveyard as the material for a link summon of a Salmon Great monster, target 1 monster in the field, return it to the hand. You can only use each effect of Mirage Stalio once per turn. Now, Salmon Great, was a very cheap meta deck at one point. That's why this thing had to go. Because there was, I believe it was even like out of 5 World Championship qualifiers, 4 were won by Salamangreat in 1 year. And this thing is one of its most important play extenders. Though, to be fair, in the current meta, they could try running it at 1 and seeing what happens, because Salamangreat has been power crapped a little, because power creeped, not power crapped. Power creeped a little because there are stronger archetypes now. Anyway, moving on. Samsara Lotus. A dark level 1 plant monster with no attack and defense. During your end phase, if you control no spell or trap cards, summon this card from your graveyard in face-up attack position. This card's controller takes 1,000 damage during each of their standby phases.
Okay, well, why is that even made? That sounds horrible.
First of all, this is from the GX anime. Second of all, the fact that it's banned probably means that somebody somewhere found a loop with this.
And in a good way?
Yeah, in a positive way. To be fair, it does summon itself back for free. If you have anything...
Yeah, but the controller gains 1,000, it gets 1,000 damage.
Yeah, but to be fair, if they couldn't do anything with it in their end phase, you'd still have a 0 attack monster in attack mode. You're probably already getting rid of it before your turn. So they probably did something fucky during the end phase to summon this thing and immediately get rid of it and summon it again. And in the meanwhile dealing effect damage or something. I don't know.
Or they could summon it on the opponent's side of the field and then deal direct damage and also the effect damage in their standby phase.
No, that's not going to be it. 1,000 damage, it sounds like a lot, but in the end, burn decks aren't doing well for a reason. For burn decks, either they're losing badly or they're playing FTKs. This is not an FTK card. There are better options. Sorry, Firespark, but no, 1,000 damage is also still not a lot. Except for Duel Links. On Duel Links it is.
It's not even repairable with 1 red medicine. So...
yeah, strange people out there. Anyway, Spiral Master Plan. Dark Spellcaster, level 7 effect monster, 1200 attack, 2800 defense, and once per turn you can add 1 Spiral mission card from your deck to your hand, and if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 Spiral Resort and 1 Spiral monster from your deck to your hand. Except Master Plan, you can only use each effect once per turn. Spirals were just very good. That's the simple reason. They were tier 0 at one point, which is... just to tell you, that means that they dominated by a lot. I believe it was like a 90% representation rate in the top 16 of a tournament. So that's... they had to bring out an emergency ban list at one point to take down one of the Spiral cards, because it was that powerful. That was not Master Plan, by the way, it was another one, I don't know which one. Anyway. Substitute. A Water Aqua, level 1 effect monster with 100 attack, 2000 defense, and the effect, you can tribute 1 monster to special summon 1 frog monster from your deck, except Frog the Gem. And frog monsters except Frog the Jam cannot be destroyed by battle. This is another card that would allow you to loop through your entire deck.
Okay, what does this card have against Frog the Jam? What beat do they have?
Okay, so Frog the Jam is a card that's in the OCG, or the original card game, so Japan, it did not have frog in its name. So technically it's not allowed to be affected by any card that affects frogs.
So that's why in the English version they say Frog the Jam is accepted from this rule.
Yeah. There's a lot of cards that used to say except Frog the Jam, but I believe they changed Frog the Jam's name. Let me just check real quick. Frog the Jam. Yeah, it's called now it's called Slime Toad. Updated from Frog the Jam to solve this this issue.
Problem.
Yeah, they've done this like like 3 or 4 cards already right now that have this. I know Harpy's brother got changed to Sky Scout, and Red Eye's Black Chick got changed to Black Dragon's Chick because of
Why?
this
Why? Why is
exact hmm?
Why was Harpy's brother changed?
Same reason. It didn't in the Japan. He was not called Harpy, so he wasn't supposed to be part of the Harpy archetype.
Then why did they make it part of the Harpy archetype?
Because when Sky Scout first came out, the Harpy archetype didn't exist. There were cards called Harpy, but there was no cards that affected monsters called Harpy. So yeah, they changed it. Anyway, next up is Summon Sorceress. A dark spellcaster, link-free monster with 2400 attack, an arrow pointing up, an arrow pointing left down, and an arrow pointing right down. If this card is link summoned, you can special summon a monster from your hand in defense position to your opponent's zone this card points to. Target one face-up monster this card points to. Special summon one monster from your deck in defense mode with the same type as that monster to a zone this card points to. Negate its effects. Simple case of play extender. You could easily summon monsters from the deck with this thing. Way too easily, and it had no real restrictions. Summoning condition was easy enough, so yeah. Yeah, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, moving on to Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom. It's a Dark Dragon level 8 fusion effect monster with 2800 attack, 2000 defense, requiring 2 Dark Pendulum monsters, and must be either fusion summoned or special summoned by attributing the above materials you can control. Do not use polymerization. No fire. Don't use it. No.
No.
And once per turn, you can target one other monster on the field or in the graveyard until the end phase of this turn. This card's name becomes that monster's original name and replaces the effect with that monster's original effect. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage to your opponent. Now, the thing was, there was some rank 1 monster you could copy with this, and it could keep attacking because of that. You could attack multiple times directly with 2800.
Lol. So, is this that monster that had a dragon as its dick, or is that another monster?
What did you say?
Is this that monster that had a dragon as a dick, or is that another monster?
The dragon as a dick was not even a monster. That was just a character from the show.
Wasn't that like that he became one of the monsters or something? I don't know. I don't know.
No, the dragon dick was from the original Yu-Gi-Oh series, and
yeah,
it was very weird. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know who designed. I know who designed it. It was Kazuki Takahashi because it came from the original manga. But it was so weird. Why the fuck did they draw a dragon dick on it?
I believe it was one of the monsters or something.
No, it was not actually a monster card. It was a character.
How?
Go watch season 5. Come on, man.
I haven't watched season 5.
Watch it.
I think.
No, probably not. Otherwise, you would know who the dragon dick is. Teller Knight, Ptolemaeus. It's a light warrior, rank 4 Xyz monster with 550 attack, 2600 defense, requiring 2 or more level 4 monsters, and once per chain, during either player's turn, you can detach 3 materials from this card. Special from your X deck, 1 Xyz monster that is 1 rank higher than this. Oh. What the fuck is going to hold up? Am I still live? Hold up. Yeah, I am. Sorry, it was acting weird. Let's see. Where was I? By using this, you can exceed someone that's one rank higher than this card, except a number monster. By using this face-up card, you control as an exceed material. It's treated as an exceed summon. You can detach 7 exceed material from this card. Skip your opponent's next turn. During each player's end phase, attach 1 Stellar Knight from your extra deck to this card as a material. I think they didn't like the fact that it skipped turns. Are you still there?
Yeah, but
Yeah, so yeah, I think that's it. I think it's because it skips turns.
oh, I thought you were gonna say like you think they didn't like that they skipped turns, but it was actually like
No,
I was.
no, I'm assuming that it's because it skips turns. I believe Teller Knights do a lot with reattaching materials, so getting to 7 wouldn't be too hard. And skipping your opponent's turn 1 time can already wreck them for life. Its other effect just allows you to summon a bigger Teller Knight, or another rank 5. But not a number monster. That's such a random clause. Just, yeah, no numbers. Like,
No gifts.
no. You're not summoning number 61 with this. Fuck you. Like, there are only a few you can summon this way, and most of them aren't worth summoning this way because.
So this card was definitely invented by Etna Mode, like randomly. No gifts, no numbers.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know if there's like some good rank 5 you would bring out with this, but I really am thinking it's the skipping turns. Just skipping turns, like people are still talking about like one of the Arcana Force cards because it can skip turns. Besides that, nobody cares about Arcana Force. Anyway, next up is Tempest Magician. We're reaching the end. Don't worry, you can almost leave.
I'm still enjoying it. It's just
you're just getting a little worn.
It's a bit long, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is we're almost at the 2-hour mark now.
Yeah. Okay, let's.
I wish my page wasn't broken. Oh, I'm not logged in anymore. That's what's fucking wrong, I guess. No, I am logged in.
Tempest Magician.
Tempest Magician.
Dark attribute level 5 spellcaster. Synchro effects.
That's a 6.
Is that a 6?
That is a 6.
Okay, my quality is like really shit. So.
Yeah, it's probably because I'm double streaming at the moment.
Yeah. It has 2200 attack and 1400 defense. It requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner spellcaster type monsters. When this card is synchro summoned, place 1 spell counter on it. Once per turn, you can discard any number of cards to place 1 spell counter on a monster or monsters you control for each card you discarded. You can remove all spell counters on the field to inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each removed spell counter.
So yeah, this is an FTK card. That's as simple as it is.
Yeah,
You'd need, well, let's see, it's 16 counters, unless your opponents are using red medicine. For every red medicine you would need 1 extra, but 16 spell counters. Sounds like a lot. Isn't.
No, you can easily get to that with this effect.
No, not even with this effect. You'd use Mystical Beast, which can place 2 per spell card activated, plus Citadel, which places 1 for every spell card activated. So, yeah. And spell counter decks are really powerful. Anyway, moving on to the Tyrant Neptune. It's a water reptile, level 10 effect monster with no attack or defense, and the following effects. It cannot be special summoned, You can tribute summon this card by tributing one monster. This card gains the original attack and defense of the monsters tributed. And when it's tribute summoned, target one effect monster that was tributed. For the tribute summon of this card's name becomes the target name and gains that target's effect. How was this?
You can easily make it OP. I suppose you can easily make it OP.
You would say that, but people really don't care about high attack stats, so that's not it. I think it was just used to lengthen up what you could do with once per turn effects, like a lot, because if you tribute the monster with a once per turn effect on it, you could use that effect again, because it gains that effect.
Yeah. That's actually what I meant. I was more talking about the effects gained.
Yeah, well, it can only gain one effect, so at least it's
yeah,
that.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, there are some issues with this card. I don't think it's the most powerful thing. There's probably some way that people were abusing it, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't know.
So maybe doesn't have to be banned. Maybe just
maybe, but I feel like there's someone is gonna be like, no, they used it like this, and that's how you break the card. But I don't know for sure. Thunder Dragon Colossus, a Dark Thunder level 8 fusion effect monster, 2600 attack, 2400 defense. It requires a Thunder Dragon and a Thunder monster. It must be either fusion summoned or special summoned during the turn a Thunder monster effect was activated in the hand by tributing one Thunder effect non-fusion monster. Do not use polymerization. Don't use polymerization, come on. Jeez, fuck.
But I want to use polymerization.
Cards cannot be added from the main deck to your opponent's hand except by drawing them. If this card would be destroyed by or card effect, banish a Thunder monster from your graveyard instead. This card is ridiculous because it locks out searching. It's easy to summon, locks out searching, and protects itself. That is the reason. For an opponent to not be able to search is hard hitting in the meta. Like in casual, I can understand. Like there, it's fine, but meta search so much, it really hurts to play against this. So yeah, that's the simple of it. And banishing Thunder monsters, Thunder Dragons activate upon banishing, so it's a bit of a double whammy at that point. Attempting to destroy it fuels their effects. Keep this card for a turn.
I was just thinking right now, it just popped into my head. I believe I sent a screenshot of that into the group chat, but I was talking on Reddit with someone who said they had Pot of Greed in their deck, and that they bought that it was an official deck that they bought in the US, and that they were like, and that I had to explain that it's not allowed, and that they didn't believe it because it was an official deck that they bought. Like, how is that even possible?
Well, for Pot of Greed to be in an official deck?
Yeah.
It wasn't starter deck Yugi. Like, hold on. No, let's pull it up. Pot of Greed. You can see what it was released. It was tournament packs, starter deck Yugi Evolution, a starter deck from 2004, well before this card was banned. Heck, 2015 in Yugi's legendary decks, which is probably the one he bought then, it was still released. That's a deck, official deck that was. Yeah, I think I might have bought this deck actually.
It's been banned since forever.
It's been banned since the first ban list because it was too generically usable.
Yeah.
But yeah, they released it probably for casual players. Because if you're playing casually, you say to your friends, yeah, you can run Pot of Greed, it's fine, and you can run Pot of Greed, it's fine.
Just don't spam your deck with it.
Just don't come with a meta deck all of a sudden to kick everyone's ass. So basically, don't be me.
Yeah.
I would bring all the strongest decks to the yard. because they're better than yours.
Any deck is better than mine. You don't have to bring meta decks to be better than mine yet.
I helped you upgrade your deck. You should be fine now.
Yeah, okay, but my other decks.
Fair
I mean,
enough.
you can literally just take a handful of cards, and it will a handful of random cards, and it will be a better deck than some of my actual decks.
I can literally just come to your house with a bunch of packs, make a deck out of that. Just random packs.
And still beat me.
Which is not the worst thing I've ever done to someone. I once, just a little story time. I had a friend who basically introduced me to Yu-Gi-Oh! At some point, me, him, and another guy. The other guy borrowed his main deck. I didn't have my decks with me. And he was like, just look through my trunk, make something. You can at least play. So I made something out of that trunk and beat his main deck with it. It was literally, I love the other guy was like, what the fuck happened here? How did I lose?
That's just humiliating.
Yep. Anyway, next up we have another Dragon Ruler. Title: Dragon Ruler of Waterfalls. It's a water dragon, level 7 effect monster, 2600 attack, 2000 defense, and if this card's in your hand or graveyard, you can banish a total of 2 water and or dragon monsters from your hand and or graveyard, except this card, special summon this card. During your opponent's end phase, if this card was special summoned, return it to the hand. You can discard and 1 water monster, send 1 monster from your deck to the graveyard. If this card is banished, add 1 water dragon from your deck to your hand. You can only use 1 title, Dragon Ruler of Waterfalls effect per turn, and only once that turn. Same deal as the other Dragon Rulers, there's not much to say about their differences, because they're minimal. Moving on. Oh god, we're at top logic. Gumblar Dragon. Have you ever seen this thing in action?
No.
Okay, and this is going to be fun to explain to you. Dark Cybers, Link 4, 3000 attack, an arrow pointing up, down, left, and right, requiring 2+ effect monsters. And if another monster is special summoned to a zone this Link monster points to, while this monster's on the field, to a zone where a Link monster points to. I thought it was this one specifically. No, a place where a Link monster points to. While this card's on the field, discard 1 or 2 random cards. Then your opponent discards the same number during your main phase. If this card's extra linked, and your opponent has at least 1 card in their hand, you can make your opponent discard 1 or 2 cards. Whichever is higher, then, if they have no more cards in their hand, inflict 3000 damage. Now, the big problem with this was that people would extra link this thing, make your opponent discard 4 cards, and then your opponent would have 2 cards on their turn. Playing with no hand's not fun.
It's not.
Trust me, I've been there. I faced this thing. It was used in conjunction with Firewall Dragon. It's probably a little less powerful now that extra links are a little harder because Firewall is gone. But it's still, if you pull this off, it is... Yep, you're dead. Your opponent's dead because they can't...
But what is extra link? Is that like calling?
I believe I explained this before, but if you... fucking hell, I would need a field for this to explain. Imagers, Yu-Gi-Oh! Field. Okay, so you have like a Link monster in your first extra monster zone, right? It points down, and if the monster it points to down is pointing up and to the right, they're co-linked. Then, if you have a monster here that's pointing left and right, it's co-linked with this, and it's pointing to the right. Then you have a monster here that's pointing to the left and pointing up. So it's co-linked with this, which is co-linked with this, which is co-linked with this. While pointing at this zone, you're allowed to use that zone. And that is called extra link.
Oh, okay.
And of course, you can also have a monster here pointing to a monster here that points to there and there.
Yeah, that's also possible, but yeah, okay.
But that is extra link, and it's...
Okay.
It was happening a lot when it was first a thing.
Yeah, obviously, because
because Firewall.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So playing with no hands, no fun. We already covered Victory Dragon and why it is A ruling disaster. Next up is Wind Up Carrier Zen Matey. Sorry, that had to be said with some energy because it's Matey. It's a water machine, rank 3 Xyz monster, 15 attack and defense, 2 level 3 monsters, and once per turn. Detach 1 Xyz.
But did they come from the shipyard?
No, this one didn't. Sorry.
Darn it. Once per turn.
Once per turn, detach 1 Xyz material from this card. Special summon 1 Wind Up monster from your hand to your deck. When a face-up Wind Up monster in the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, detach 1 Xyz material from this card. The target that monster, return that target to the hand. I'm not sure. I'm genuinely not sure.
Let me see. Once per turn. La 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 la.
I guess it easily summons monsters, but it summons wind-ups, and wind-ups are not that interesting.
Sent to the graveyard, except the... Hey! Wait! Except the damage step. Did it work this material from the... I suppose you can find a loophole in the rules of this effect by saying like, hey, the second effect activates the first effect as well.
No, but there is a thing. There's one thing I can imagine. If you summon this thing.
Yeah.
No wait, it needs Xyz materials to activate this. I really don't get this. I thought this was just once per turn. No, you also need to detach Xyz material. That's fucking weird. Now I guess you can summon an extra monster from it and link spam. I don't know. Very confused on that one. Next one is a bit more straightforward. It's Yata Gadas. A Wind Fiend level 2 Spirit monster with 200 attack, 100 defense. It cannot be special summoned, as is per usual for spirit monsters, just like the following effect. Return this card during the turn to its owner's hand. During the end phase of the turn, it was normal, summoned, or flipped face up. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, they skip their next draw phase.
Okay, yeah, that's just mean.
It's not just mean, it's called a Yadagarasu lock, and it is awful. You cannot draw. Because of that, you don't get new resources, so if your opponent can get rid of your hand in the process, and keep attacking with that every turn, boom, 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 you're gone.
Yeah.
Like eventually,
they just need to attack 16 times.
16. They're gonna have to attack a little bit more often than that. It's 50.
Right. 50. Alright.
Yeah, unless your opponent uses red medicine.
No, but wait. I'm just confused.
It's 200 attack.
Oh yeah, so 8,000 divided by 200 is
That's
40.
40. My bad.
Yeah. 40 times.
Okay, and this is the last card of today. I'm gonna put in a little bonus card just for Firespark.
Okay.
Zodiac Broadbull, an Earth Beast Warrior Xyz monster, rank 4, question mark attack and defense. Requires 2 level 4 monsters, and once per turn you can also Xyz summon this by using one Zodiac you control with different name. This card gains attack and defense equal to the attack and defense of all Zodiac monsters attached to this as a material. Once per turn, detach 1 material from this card, add 1 Beast Warrior type from your monster that can be normal summon or set from your deck to your hand. Easy searching, easy attack gain. Zodiac was already overpowered as fuck. It's understandable why this is banned.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you know, Zodiac format, which was right before the Link era, was considered the most toxic format out there just because Zodiac was that powerful. And long-lived. It lived for over a year and it was dominating the entire time. Anyway, I'm gonna...
Bonus card.
Oh. Get...
Monster or Dying.
No. Where is it? Here it is.
Dying Kit to the Cure Master. Increase your life points by 1,000 points. Oh my god! That's more powerful than 3 red renaissance! That must be banned!
Oh, by the way, there's not a bonus round for cards that Firespark thought were banned. I played this against him, and he was immediately, this must be banned, right? Hold on. Armatile the Chaos Phantom. Updated from Armatile the Chaos Phantom. Phantom has become Phantasm. Anyway, it requires Uriah, Hamon, and Raphael. Must be summoned when active deck by banishing the buff cards you control. You can also summon it with its own fusion spell. Cannot be destroyed by battle and gains 10,000 attack during your turn only. He thought this should be banned.
Wait, must be blah, 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 blah. You do not use polymerization, cannot be destroyed by battle, gains 10,000 attack during your turn only. Yeah, because it gains 10,000 attack, but that's during your turn only, so yeah.
Yeah, but if your opponent has like anything that negates, they can stop it. If they have anything that stops attacks, if they have Magic Cylinder, you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's some food for thought. He actually played this, and you were immediately like, "Why is this not banned?"
Yeah, but that was like immediate win. So I'm like, why? How?
I did win immediately, but that's just because you suck. I mean, to be fair, if somebody plays this card, even like in an average duel, it is usually its finisher because of the 10,000 attack. Yeah. This is like a final move you're making.
Yeah, so that's why I thought how is this not banned? Because it's an immediate win.
It's immediate win if you can gather the 3 monsters, if you can fuse them together, and if your opponent cannot stop either the fusion spell or the attack. And of course, they need to have 2,000 attack or less monsters.
It's not a fusion spell. You banish them.
There is a specific fusion spell for it. Here it is: Dimension Fusion Destruction. Banish from your hand, field, and/or graveyard for Phantasm monster. Then special summon that monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, meaning you can summon your Chaos Phantasm. Take no battle damage. Okay. And if you control Uriah, Hamon, or Raphael, your opponent cannot activate cards in response to this effect's activation. And you would say
so
that
and because Phantasm requires that thingy, you can actually block my blocking of that card.
Yeah, but then it's a level 10 monster you're talking about, is the problem. You can usually people stop those already. And I still need to have the other 2 in hand or graveyard. But yeah, anyway, it's by no means overpowered, and it's not wrecking house anywhere. Except your house, but I think Karibo can wreck house in your house. And Gene's life points have reduced to 0. Anyway, hope everybody enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, if you're watching this on YouTube. At some point in the future, we're going to cover the rest of the ban list. Because of course there's way more to talk about in terms of like spell cards. Let me go back here. In terms of spells and traps and limiteds, but for now it's
semi-limited.
Huh? Now, okay, the semi-limited is going to be done in a limited video. Let's be honest. I'm not going to make a separate video.
It's 2 cards.
Destiny or no. Anyway, come back another time, and we're gonna do whatever is added since. Well, we're probably gonna do this before March, and well, that's when the next ban list is coming out. It's no sooner than March 1st, so yeah. But anyway, hope you enjoyed. Leave a like. Follow me on Twitch. I stream 4 times a week, sometimes 5, whenever I'm doing an archetype review. Next week will be a normal archetype review. I think next week, no, in 2 weeks. And then I think 2 weeks after that, we're going to do the second part of this. All right?
I think that should be fine.
Yeah, if it's not fine, and there will be updates on the community Discord. Anyway, hope everyone enjoyed, and see you all on Monday. Bye-bye.